AITA for not giving my adopted daughter a stuffed animal for her high school graduation, when both of my biological children got one. I, 49F, have 3 children, 22F, 19M, and 18F. My oldest are my biological children from a previous marriage, and my youngest I became a mother to at the age of 2 when I married her widowed father. She has only ever called me Mom, and I officially adopted her at the age of 12. Now on to the issue with the stuffed animals. Years and years ago, when I was only 20 and in college, I worked at a children's museum. I adored the job and working with kids, and had the idea to buy stuffed animals from the gift shop to be my future kids' first stuffed animals whenever they were born. I had gotten a stuffed bear at birth that was very special to me growing up, and on my 18th birthday, my parents gifted me a duplicate they had bought way back when and kept for me all these years. I found this so special and wanted to do something similar, so I bought 6 stuffed animals from the museum's gift shop, 3 to be given at birth, and 3 duplicates. I had no idea at the time how many kids I would have, but I knew I wasn't planning on having more than 3, so I didn't get any more. My first daughter received the stuffed animal I selected for her while pregnant. Then, between her birth and the birth of my son, I miscarried. The experience was deeply traumatic for me, especially as I miscarried in my 2nd trimester, and I buried my baby with the stuffed animal they would have gotten. I kept the duplicate too, for comfort, to cuddle and hold. Finally, my son was born and received the last of the stuffed animals I had set aside so many years ago. Now, here's where I may be the asshole. For both my daughter and son's high school graduations, I surprised them with the duplicates for them to take to college with them and compare against the stuffies they've been loving on their whole lives. Both were very moved by this and took both original and duplicate to school with them. My youngest, however, never received a stuffed animal, and so when her graduation celebration rolled along, I had no duplicate to gift her. I watched her unpack all her gifts, and her face fall when she got to the last one and realized she didn't really say anything, just got this super sad look on her face, and excused herself to her room. I followed to ask what was wrong, but she said she didn't want to talk to me, so her father went in instead. According to him, she cried to him that she didn't feel as loved by me as her siblings, and as much a part of the family. The unwrapping of her siblings' stuffed animals were very emotional events, and she had had the expectation she'd be getting the same. In hindsight, I could have easily done something similar for her whenever I first came into her life, even if it wouldn't have been from the museum. But I just didn't think of it. She has been cold to me this entire last week, and I feel so terrible. I've offered to take her out to a special dinner, the 2 of us, to make amends, but she turned me down. AITA, edit. The votes are in, and I am definitively TA. Many of you are suggesting that I get her a stuffy that reminds me of her, or maybe to get her too, so she can continue the tradition with her future kids. But I think what I will do is gift her the duplicate my parents gifted me of my special plush bear I received at birth, which is one of my most treasured possessions and deeply meaningful to me. Thank you all for the advice. It is genuinely appreciated. Top comments, and give more details. YTA, it been a week, and you still just didn't buy her a damn stuffed animal. Reply, I offered to buy us matching stuffed animals so she could take one to college with her, and I could keep the other, but she said it would not be the same. Comment, by asking her, you're putting the burden on her to accept and make you feel better. She is very hurt and knows that your gesture is just to try to put it behind you, whether you are doing it on purpose or not. You're not doing it out of a sense of real emotion and commitment like with your real kids. She feels you're just doing it now to fix things. That doesn't make her feel special. It makes her feel like an afterthought you need to placate. Comment 2. So you could have gotten a stuffed animal for her, but you just didn't think about it. You were so meticulous in setting this whole stuffed animal traditional up you overlooking your adopted daughter is really hard to swallow. Oop reply. She came into my life 11 years after I originally bought the 6 from the museum. I bought her many stuffies over the years, just none with duplicates to gift her upon graduation. The last of the duplicates had been locked away 3 years before I ever even knew her, so the tradition was not on my mind at the time. Comment 3. Sounds like you only consider yourself to have 2 children. Oop reply. Not at all. I accept the YTA votes, but I will not accept the insinuation that I don't consider her my daughter. This was an oversight, and a pretty major one at that, but it does not stem from not viewing her as my own. She has been included in every other family tradition. She even speaks German despite her father not speaking it because I spoke it to her and taught her growing up. We have gone on mother-daughter trips to Germany together alone. In every other regard, I have strived to be the best mother for her that I can be. I am that asshole in this situation, but she is my daughter and always will be. I am asking for direction out of love for her and a desire to make amends. Comment 4. You didn't think when the others graduated you might want to have something? Anything? Oop reply. I got her many gifts that I deemed special and meaningful. I made her a photo album to take with her to remind her of home. She enjoys cooking, so I compiled her favorite recipes into a cookbook for her, many of which have been handed down or created over the years, and I made her coupons for mother-daughter things we could do together this summer before I send my baby off to college. Of course I had the thought, but I thought it wouldn't be the same, so why couldn't we honor our relationship and all the ways what we have is special? My thought was she is her own person separate from her siblings, so I would get her things to honor her, not to make up for what her siblings received before. Comment 5. Did you know she was expecting you to get her one? I'm hesitant to make a judgment here. If you truly didn't realize she was looking forward to getting one, can you try to make it right and get her a special stuffed animal now? Oop reply. I truly did not realize that was her expectation. I got her many more heartfelt gifts than either of her siblings did, thinking they would be an equivalent. Clearly I was wrong. I have resolved to gift her the duplicate of the plush bear I received at birth. I have also been speaking with her father about mother-daughter therapy, because this is clearly a representation of a larger issue, and I want to be the best mother to her that I can be. I had gotten her coupons for fun mommy-daughter activities to do over the summer together, but now I'm thinking of taking her on a trip with me to Germany, just the 2 of us, to work on repairing our relationship and taking her to all the places I grew up and were important to me in my life. I am not a perfect adoptive mother, and I obviously have issues to work on, but she is my daughter, and if she'll let me, I'm dedicated to being the best I can be for her. Update 6 days later. Long story short, my daughter found my Reddit post and came to me in tears apologizing for her reaction. This was not my expectation, and I assured her she had nothing to apologize for, as I had been in the wrong. We had a long discussion about the situation, our feelings, and how to move forward from this. And although I know she is still hurt, we are on our way to making amends. Long story long. So what even happened? As I've now discovered, my daughter loves browsing AITA. She stumbled on my post, and after reading it in its entirety, as well as a good chunk of the comments, all of mine, and many left by other Redditors, she came to me in tears apologizing for her reaction. She sobbed in my arms that she didn't want this to be the end of our relationship, and that she was sorry and wanted to enjoy this last summer together. I held her and assured her she had nothing to apologize for, and apologized myself. I did shed a little tear, but tried to keep my emotions in check, as I did not want the burden of comforting me to be on her. What followed was a productive but incredibly emotionally vulnerable conversation, the details of which I will not disclose entirely. She has been going through a rough time, and my impression I could be wrong, is that the lack of a stuffy at graduation was a catalyst for bigger emotions. She did take me up on my offer to take her to dinner, and I've now booked a reservation at a nice restaurant she has been wanting to go to for a while. And last night we cooked her favorite dinner together, which gave us an opportunity to smooth things over somewhat. We have not yet broached the subject of me intending to gift her my own plush, except for very briefly. She insisted I didn't have to and seemed to feel a lot of guilt, but I still plan to. I just feel it would be best to wait until things have cooled down. And if she truly doesn't feel comfortable taking it, I plan on getting a bear of a similar look to be its little brother for her to take care of. That's the update. Obviously, things have not magically mended overnight, but we are finally on track to a resolution. Many thanks to all that left advice, and please check the comments below for clarification on many questions asked before passing any judgments. I far exceeded the allowed word limit, and have instead pasted much of what I intended to say here below. Comment from OOP. When I initially posted to AITA, I was prepared to face judgment and open to constructive criticism. However, while I did receive many constructive comments, which I truly appreciate, I received many more that were hateful and unconstructive, and I will admit, I did get defensive. But the attitude I took on in the comments is not one I brought into my interactions with my daughter. Please understand that I did not throw in her face all the kind things I feel I've done for her over the years, but was rather attempting to contextualize our relationship for strangers who've never met us. And before passing any further judgment in the comments, please check below for answers to a lot of the questions asked in the original thread. To answer a few questions, why did I not adopt her until 10 years after I came into her life? Because I never sought to force myself on her as her mother, and waited until she could give me explicit consent to adopt her. Why did I never buy her any stuffed animals? I did. I bought her many when I first met her, as well as one for her official adoption day, and every adoption day celebration since. And I did technically gift her a stuffed animal for her graduation. 2, it was just a plush of her college's mascot, rather than a duplicate of a treasured plush from her childhood. So why did I not buy her a duplicate at any point over the last 16 years? I did not think to until my oldest graduated and received hers, by which point I mistakenly felt the significance would be lost. Both my bio kids received stuffies saved for them for decades, whereas she would have received one saved for only 4 years. Instead, I tried to honor her in other ways, such as I described in the comments, crafting her a cookbook of generational family recipes that I illustrated by hand, because she is her own individual. Truthfully, while I understand the sentiments expressed in the comments, I don't believe recognizing differences is inherently a bad thing. The duplicate stuffies my bio kids received were duplicates of the very first stuffies to ever be in their crib with them. Their receival of them was a birth event, and I did not give birth to my youngest. But that does not mean I love her any less, or that she is any less my daughter. We have established our own traditions honoring her entry into my life, such as our celebration of her adoption day. And while I realize I could have handled the stuffy situation better, I do believe it was an honest mistake. But how could I not include her in a treasured family tradition, knowing how important it is, especially as an adopted child, to feel a part of the family? Because I truly did not realize this one specific tradition meant as much to her as it did. I have strived to include her in as many family traditions as possible throughout the years. As I mentioned in the comments, she speaks German because I taught and spoke it to her growing up, even though her father does not. We celebrate German traditions, such as baking countless batches of German Christmas cookies together every year, just the two of us. Neither of her siblings have any interest in baking, which is something I grew up doing with my mom. And every year it is quality time I deeply treasure. For her 16th birthday, I gifted her the locket my mother gifted me on my 16th, which she'd been gifted by my grandmother before me. This actually upset my eldest daughter, who had not received such a hand-me-down. And this is just to name a few. So given the fact that she has on occasion received and taken part in traditions my other kids have been excluded from, I did not think the stuffy would carry as much weight as it ultimately did. But isn't her reaction an indication that there are larger issues at play, and that she has likely felt this way for a while? Perhaps. I am not a perfect adoptive mother, and have never claimed to be, and I cannot see inside her brain, so I cannot know her true feelings. But my sense, and I may be wrong, is that the larger issues at play relate back to her bio mom, which is something she expressed to me in our conversation. I did not disclose this in my original post because I did not believe it to be relevant, and it is also a painful topic within our family, but her bio mom committed suicide whilst in the thick of postpartum depression. This has obviously impacted my daughter, who has been in and out of therapy for years, grappling with feelings of loss and guilt. She is highly sensitive to feeling isolated within our family unit, which is something I should have taken into account in this situation, and I own that. I realize this is a huge hunk of text, but given the visceral reaction many had, I felt it was important to cover my bases. Come to whatever conclusions you all like. I will likely not be checking the comments for my own mental health and the well-being of my family. To all who left genuine advice, even if that meant calling me an asshole, I truly do appreciate you. And to all who said hateful things, especially in regard to the loss of my baby, please consider the impact your words may have moving forward.